Hey, it's Erica with Shakti Moves Dance Company, and I'm here today to share with you Echo. It is our fifth solo in the series of six. So let's just dive right in. So, Echo is danced by Alyssa Johnson, who has a wonderful background. I'm not going to say it all here. You can flip to our website and check her bio if you like. I'll include the website link in the description box below so you can do your research. But she is a profound artist and a very sweet friend. And I'm really grateful that we got to work together on this one-on-one project um, because honestly, she challenges me to continue pushing my edge. So for me this was a really exciting work to do because I got to challenge not only myself physically but also in my clarity and in the way that I direct and coach, and I got to get really clear on what it is that is meaningful to me about movement. And that's just really special when a choreographer can find a dancer that's willing to kind of put their own stuff aside and just be like, okay, use me. How do you want this to look, Erica? So all of my dancers do that. Um, to some degree, each one of them brings me a different opportunity to explore about my choreography. But with Alyssa, it was super kinesthetic. So I could get down into the nitty gritty of talking about um, energy and how we move energy through our body and like pathways of energy. And um, so it was subtle. It was a subtle work. Anyway, I could just go on and on about that forever. So I'm not gonna echo. um, Echo comes from a place of my nature walks, my nature time. I like to say that my hiking time is my school time because I get to connect to a very deep place inside, but also to a very clear, energetic space out in nature and just kind of root in and listen. Listen to to the birds and to the trees and to the wind and to the ground and just kind of like imbibe this place of um, divine connection, divine union with nature. I've never really talked about that before, but it's definitely a part of my um, it's a part of my toolkit that keeps me sane uh, because I find that sometimes being a sensitive, artistic human in this world, especially now during these times, is abrasive. And so um, I really value that time to connect and recharge. So the cool thing about my explorations this time was that for the first time ever, I was playing out in the creek bed, and I remember just one day I got real quiet and just real still and closed my eyes and was just breathing, and all of a sudden I felt cool wetness in my feet, on my feet, in my shoes, and I was like, what? And I actually had to look with my physical eyes and make sure that there was no water there because all of a sudden I was feeling the water, the spirit of the water, if you will. I was feeling that, even though there was no water there. So that was the first kind of echo of like what is actually here, even if it's not physically known. So I just started to kind of play with that, and I just first just kind of was stepping very slowly and intentionally. And the creek bed is full of rocks, so there's not an even surface. Um, and so I just started to notice that the creek bed has wisdom as well in how to travel. So how does it want me to move through the space here? And I just let it happen, and there were times where I just would like flow easy and gently, and then there were times where I was like leaping and jumping from rock to rock, and it was just like it was very freeing. um, And also just like the rest of the scenery with the trees around. And so like I was basically taking a snapshot of the cells, in my cells, of what I was experiencing out there. And then I came into this studio and started to create movement. And I realized I could feel in the studio how that experience, that cellular experience, was still with me, and it was still creating, I still could find those same pathways. And that's just super exciting. Um, so I started to work with that and get really curious about, well, how, if, the speed variances that I was feeling out on the creek, how does that come into the choreography? So that was the starting point for me choreographically. I was not looking for any story or like, I just truly felt that if we could capture the kinesthetic flow, if you will, that the body itself is going to bring up an emotional, that's going to happen, right? Like how Alyssa performs it, how she connects with the music. Every time she would do it, it was a little bit different, maybe a little bit different story from week to week, even. This is something I've really seen repeated over each solo, like where the dancer is on that particular rehearsal, the movement speaks differently, and I love that. So I didn't try to pin down a story. I just wanted Alyssa to really be aware of what was arising for her. I wanted her to, be conscious of what was coming up. And so she actually provided for me kind of the story, and I would just echo that back to her as far as, yeah, this is what I'm seeing. Let's pull that out a little bit more. And that's basically how I work. That's what I do. So what was really exciting that we both kind of met, our minds kind of met on this point was, in life, we have moments or seasons of time where things can be more difficult. They're kind of like transitionary phases where we're growing rapidly, leaving things behind, kind of having to shed skin to like step into a new stage. And the human mind, at least in our conversations and contemplations, has this tendency to grip on to what it knew, this kind of old structure, as that's safe. That's what I know. It's predictable. Even if I'm outgrowing it and shaking the walls to try to find some fresh air, you know what I mean? So for us, what we were really looking at was the flow state, not just in terms of the flow of the river or of the creek bed, if you will, but the flow state of, being in the flow. You know what I'm saying? Like being in the flow where there's ease and grace and you're guided and you don't have to work really hard. You just have to know when to let go and when to speed up and when to slow down. And that takes practice. I mean, that's all about, that's life. That's what every major lesson we have does. It teaches us how to be in the flow. And so this really became about exploring the flow state through movement. How do we trust? Trust, number one, that our bodies are strong and capable. So in this instance, there was a lot of, um, trying to find the happy medium of too much release and too much, what's the word? Too much like shape. You know what I mean? So really looking for that kind of, my modern teacher in college, Susan Douglas Roberts, we love her. She used to always say, breathe and flow, or shape flow is what she would call it. So like really looking for those places of letting the arc of the movement be like the structure, the architecture, right? And then the bones being kind of like the parameters, because I mean, I can only move through this body, right? Like I can't, there's nothing more than I can do with beyond this body. But if I really allow myself to be in the flow, the movement, the shape of the movement, the structure of the movement phrase the arc of that movement takes me on a journey, and I just find that I arrive at a stopping place, a stopping place. So it's like there is a flow, and that is the flow state. And it echoes what it's like to be a human and live life, because we have those times in life where we want to cling to the old, even though we know, we can sense that there's growth happening and change happening, and we just don't want to step out of the cocoon yet because it's really, really warm and comfy and it's quiet. But that cocoon is like, no, you gotta go, you gotta move on, you gotta move forward, whatever. And we struggle with just letting go. Like, well, if I fight really hard and if I perform just right and if I say all the right words and if I, look the right way, then somehow the difficulty, the challenge will be mitigated. Um, and then paradoxically, we see that when we just let go and ride the wave, like be in the flow, suddenly it gets easier. So, they always tell you, if you're in a raging rapid, whitewater rapid, and you think you're going to drown, don't fight the water, just let it take you to the shore, which, that takes a lot of courage to just let go and arrive. So that's for us what this piece, that was the main message for us. What this piece was about was just, finding how to get into the flow, allowing the flow to take us, let go of the old, knowing, trusting that the old structures have informed us. They have created a strong foundation, but that it's safe to let it go. So that the flow can then creatively guide us to the new, and that's kind of this balance between the old and the new, the way too released and way too structured kind of thing, like what's the middle. And then another like little fun caveat that we were exploring was how there were similarities. What was like she kept coming, like she'd go through a flow and then boom, same spot. You know what I mean? There was like always there's a rhythm to the flow even. And so we started talking about how, each time you go to this spot, it's like a little tracer, like with the light, like, or an echo, sound waves, where you leave a little piece of yourself and then you reverberate out into space. And so it's like the whole dance is this statement on the ephemeral nature of the manifest world. So, what is really here? What's really here? Do I require my physical eyes to see what's really here, or can I just drop into a flow and travel? I know this sounds really out there, but y'all, if you really know me, I'm already out there. So I'm not going to worry about it. But anyway, I just want you to kind of get where we were coming from and what we were working with, so that as you watch the solo, you can then go where you need to go. But it's one of my favorites. Actually, they're all my favorite for different reasons. So I love this one. It was really fun to put together. And yeah, so I will let you go on to watch Echo and just alert you to the description box below. There's a couple things that are going to be in there for you. Alyssa is an amazing artist and she's very versatile. So I'm going to put our website link in the description box below, so you can visit there and check out her bio and just kind of get to know kind of where she comes from and what all she does. She is also a visual artist. So, the other dancers, I've asked everybody questions so that we could kind of hear from them firsthand, like what their process was like when they were making these solos. And I offered to Alyssa, hey, since you are multi-talented, please feel free to, answer these questions in whatever way you feel called. And so she made some beautiful sketches that really reflected her journey. And I will include those in the description box, as well as the questions I asked her, so you can kind of understand where she's coming from. And then also in the description box, if you would like to make a donation to support us as we round out this project. We're almost done. Actually, we are done. I just have to put it all online. So anyway, if you want to make a donation, feel free to do so. www.paypal.me/ShaktiMovesDC. I will include that link in the description box as well, so you can make a donation there. Anything helps, honestly. $5, $10, $20, it all adds up, and we are very grateful for your support. And then finally, if you really enjoy kind of following what we're doing, subscribe to our channel. We're who knows what 2021 will bring. I may be doing more videos. I may be, giving you guys opportunities to do some movement with us. I don't know yet. We're going to figure it out, but we have this channel, and so we want to use it. So feel free to subscribe and keep up with us. If you like what you see, hit the like button, and please help us to spread the word. So if you know people who love art, movement, nature, music, I don't know, if you think someone will appreciate what you see and you want to share with somebody, send it on out. Help us get seen. Okay. So Happy New Year, everyone. I really hope that everybody is, rested and ready to start going around the cycle one more time, because we're still in it. We're still here. Yay. Yeah. And I trust that everyone is healthy. Really sending out lots of good vibes for people connected to me, and also not, to be in a good place with themselves and with their families. And I really look forward to a time where we can be together in person, moving together, sharing work together, learning and loving together. So thank you.